All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast with Double B. Contrary to popular belief, succeeding in business is not risky or accidental. It's about doing something you love, sharing that love through effective marketing, and receiving love in the form of cash from grateful clients. When you align your passion with proven principles, success is inevitable. Since 1999, Joe Nicassio has been working with startup entrepreneurs and seasoned business owners to do that. If you want to learn some tactics to put you can put to work in your business today, listen to this podcast. How are we doing, Joe?
I am blessed to be in your presence.
Oh, shucks, you're gonna make us blush.
Yeah, I learned that from Les Brown. He hired me as a coach, and that was something. I actually lived under the same roof as him for almost 4 months, and he had some pretty cool things to say. And blessed to be in your presence is something I learned from Les. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Grateful for the opportunity. You told me that you have a crowd of people that are. Some of them are in business already, and some of them are blue collar, thinking about starting a business. And I work with both of those groups. Who I
Awesome.
don't work with is I don't work with people who just want to stay on a job. If you're happy, like that's not me. Also, there are people that are making so much money they don't feel like they can make any more. That's not me either. But the people I'm working with are people that are transferring from the employee world into the entrepreneur world. I mentor people through that process. And then I also work with people that are already in business, but they want to go to the next level. Um, and we live in a world that doesn't teach us to do that. We were all told to go to school, get a good education, and be somebody else's bitch. You said that I could say words like that on your show.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
And our parents, they were well intended when they said go to school, get an education, and get a good job. But the world has changed, and it used to be that employers would actually take care of employees, and today it's Russian roulette. Sometimes you think you got a good job, and next thing you know, you're on the in front of the execution squad. So um, I'm not a big fan. I believe if you're not working on your dream, you're building someone else's.
Absolutely.
That is the truth right there.
So I want to ask you two questions right off of that. Where I want you to promote yourself. Tell people where they can find you.
Okay.
All of your websites, social media, all that good stuff. And then we'll roll on.
So my website is employeeescapeplan.com. I'm in the middle of transferring it over. There's a couple bugs on it, but the new one will be bug free. But anyway, yeah, employeeescapeplan.com. You could schedule a call with me right on the top of that website. I'm all over Facebook. My last name, Nicassio, Nicassio. You'll find me pretty easy on Facebook. And Employee Escape Plan is really the primary place to find or connect with me. And that's, I'm here to help people. I'm very unusual as a business coach. I actually guarantee results at the cash register.
Wow, love it.
That's
And
awesome.
huh?
That's awesome.
So I have a 6-month mentoring program. I charge $5,000 for 6 months of mentoring, and I guarantee at the end of 6 months you will double your money. And if you don't, I will keep working with you until you do. I have a couple conditions on that. Number one is you got to pay me. Number two is you got to do the work, and number three is you can't quit. So in other words, you will make your money back and double it if you keep working on it. But if you quit, you void your own guarantee.
That makes perfect sense.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because of that guarantee, I have a 100% success track record.
That's awesome.
If you
Very
quit,
cool.
you're not part of the game anymore.
So my other question is, you were talking about education and how they kind of pounded into you that you have to go to college or else you're not going to amount to jack shit. And, you're going to end up being a plumber or whatever, just an example. Nothing against plumbers at all.
Some plumbers do better than some college grads.
Oh, yeah, they do. You can't go to college. I'm just going to ask you the question. Never mind. What's your personal views on formal education, such as college, especially versus going to a trade school?
Well, is that the only two choices? I am in favor of education. You just need to make sure that your education is in alignment with those things that you want to learn. Every time I pick up and read a book, that's called self-education. Every time I go to a seminar, every time you hire a coach or mentor like me, that's education. I would say the biggest challenge is human beings are scattered like a light bulb. And if we want to make money in the marketplace, we need to like take all those scattered light waves and channel them and divert them into one powerful laser beam. The same energy of a laser beam is the same energy of a light bulb, but the laser beam has more impact. So if education is helping us, we need to figure out what our one thing is in life. And you can't get that in a university. Most college counselors or high school career counselors, they neglected entrepreneurship as a career choice. It's like back in the day when I was, entrepreneurs were fringe characters. They were not mainstream. Now, today, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but then they're completely scared of failure. And so a lot of times the biggest reason people don't start this business is because they're petrified with fear that it's going to fail. So they don't even try in the first place. And that's the wrong reason to make decisions. You shouldn't be making decisions based on the fear choice. You need to make them based on the growth choice. I made $1 million. I lost everything. And then I got a mentor who was an expert at marketing. My original background in history is electrical engineering. So I got a lot of that formal college education stuff, but it really wasn't that thing that resonated in my soul. And for many people, I think that's a path that we have to, finding out what is our one thing. It's an individual journey. So, look, if you want to be a brain surgeon, you better go to college. And I want somebody that's passed those tests and been through, the rigorous training and has a license and knows what they're doing. So there is a place for education. And but in the business world, the big challenge is most of the people that are in the know are in the marketplace making money, and they're not taking time to sit in the university. So a lot of times the people teaching in the university are not people that have made money. Also, when it comes to the credibility of who you choose as a teacher, there's like, where did you learn your stuff? That's important. I learned from a guy named Jay Abraham, spent 7 years with him, marketing genius. And then there's like, okay, did I make money for myself? But, the third piece of credibility is like, let's see your students' success stories. If somebody took college classes on business, well, when they get out of college, they should be making money, period. And let me tell you a true story. I was asked to speak to a group of 50 people that all had bachelor's, master's, and PhDs. The common thread is they were all unemployed. I was actually speaking to them at the unemployment department. And they said, Joe, we don't have trouble finding a job. We just have trouble finding a job in the stuff we learned at the university level. Now, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? And so I said, if you want to find a dream job, if you find one out there, you're lucky to find one. But nobody owes you a dream job. It's not an entitlement. So I said, if you can't find a dream job out there in the marketplace, how many would like to one day create your dream job as an entrepreneur? 60% of the hands went up. But then, I asked a follow-up question, which is how many of you are afraid of starting your own business? Like 100% of the hands went up. And I'm like, this is America, the land of opportunity. what's wrong with this picture? And to me, it is a huge failure of the education system for people to go get a 4-year degree, a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD. And if you don't have the ability to take that to the marketplace and monetize it, that is a massive failure of the education system. So I think that's where we stand today is we are doing a lot of things to give people degrees, you know, and you got to realize the purpose of a university is to make money for the university. It's not to necessarily put people out and create success in their lives. So, you know, to answer your question, I think that I'm in favor of education, but you better make sure it's that stuff that you can take into the marketplace so you can actually provide for yourself, your wife, your kids, the people you love, and hopefully prosper and take care of your community and maybe even become a philanthropist. But you know, if you've got a degree and then you're always like supplicating to go get a job working for somebody else, being somebody else's bitch, then maybe there's something wrong with this educational process. I have no opinions on the matter.
So my opinion kind of correlates. I mean, if you want to go out and be a plumber, you're not going to go to college. You're going to go to trade school. If you want to be an electrician, kind of the same thing. Obviously, as you mentioned, like if you're going to be a brain surgeon, your ass better be in college. But if you're going to go in for liberal arts or freaking some dumb shit like that, and then cry about not having a job, sorry.
So here's the key. Like, what does it take to make money in the marketplace is we need to have skills that make somebody's life better.
Right.
So if somebody has no electricity and you wire their house up and now they've got electricity and it's safe and you can flip the switch and everything works, that's valuable. That, you know, that makes life better. If you're really good at cutting people's hair and they come in and they're all scruffy and then you give them a haircut and they're all clean and, you know, presentable, then that makes their life better. If you cook gourmet food, you know, some people, they could eat another burger, another hot dog, or they could out, you know, we eat at the nicer restaurant because it makes our life better. And so if those are things we spend money on or things that make our life better, why do we get our brakes done on our car? To make our life better. So if that's what we spend money on, if we want to receive money, the way we're going to receive money is doing something that makes our customers' lives better.
I like that.
I do like that too. I haven't heard of it that way. I like that.
Yeah, I've never heard that. That's new.
It's not new. You know, yeah, maybe it's an articulation that's new. The measure of wealth is not the money you have, but how much you can give and share and serve and contribute and make somebody's life better. So if you can go out and take your boat out and come back with a bunch of fish, well, those fish, that's going to feed a lot of people. That's going to make a lot of people's lives better, and the money will be part of that. So there's always this law of compensation. And too many people focus on the money versus their contribution. But when we make our contribution golden, when we make our contribution impactful, if we make a contribution as a scattered light bulb versus if we make it as a potent laser beam, we can organize what we bring to the table in a way that really truly makes people's lives better in a powerful, impactful way. And the bigger, look, we live in a world of problems. There's two kind of problems: the ones people will pay to solve and the ones they won't pay to solve. And there'll never be a shortage of chances to make a living, income, as long as you've got this problem-solving mentality.
Yeah,
I like that. Now, since we're kind of in here, it kind of feels like it's the right place. We only ask one scripted question because it's the only question that we think is always good to ask. But what is your personal idea or thought of success?
Well, Well, I think what we just talked about was, this idea of being a massive contribution to others. I think that's a success, is if we can go out every day and shine our gifts on other people. If you work on your gifts, they will always make room for you. So as long as you're always being a contribution. But I think the word I like to use, when we talk about success, I think success is doing the best you can. If you're doing the best you can and you're making $25,000 a year and you can absolutely do no better, then you're a success. You're doing the best you can. If somebody's making $1 million a year, but they're capable of making $50 million a year, I don't think they're so successful. I think they're playing half-hearted. They're not playing. At the end of the day, did we give it our all? Did we give it our best? And if you're playing the best that you can, happiness is winning the game you choose to play. So you get to choose the game you're playing, and if you're winning the game you choose to play, then you're going to probably feel pretty happy.
Yeah, I like that too. Jeez.
I really like that.
Oh, wait, let me give you my happiness equation, okay?
All right.
Okay, it's unconditional love minus putting up with bullshit equals happy.
Okay, I like that a lot.
So I know who's listening to this one over and over.
These guys are doing it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's another big bomb.
I like that, minus the bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very loving person, but I'm not anybody's doormat, so don't confuse my kindness for weakness. Anyway, yeah, so this is my thing, I've been in corporate America. I've been on a long journey. I've taken all kinds of training. I've had college training. I've had blue collar training. I've had all kinds of different jobs, but I made $1 million. I lost everything and kind of fell face down, in the mud, and went through some depression and all that, but I did get a mentor, and every master was once a disaster. And through my pain and suffering is when I really started to learn about marketing, and I wanted to help everybody. Everybody doesn't want to be helped. Your ego is not your amigo. This is one of the biggest problems with business owners today, is they can't listen to outside. They think that they're, I spent about 25,000 hours learning what my expertise in marketing. But then I'll talk to a business owner that took a class and they got 40, 50, 60 hours of training and think I took marketing in college, or I took a class on marketing, or and they think they know marketing. Well, let's, 40 hours versus 25,000 hours. It's like, who knows what, and so it's very easy for people to be kind of satisfied with their knowledge. And I think we need to seek what we don't know versus defending what we don't know.
I like that too.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned a couple times that you had made $1 million, lost it, hired a coach. Kind of, if you're willing to go into it, I would like to know more details as far as not necessarily like what you fucked up to get there, but kind of the process you went through to rebuild and regrow from that point and kind of get to where you are now.
Well, it's not a typical process that's super repeatable, but first of all, I was doing technology. I was selling a software product that was the hot ticket, but then the internet shifted the dynamic, and it wasn't the hot ticket anymore. So it went from super hot to cold, and I didn't necessarily have my thumb on the pulse accurately reading how quickly this thing was falling apart. So I kept pumping money into a kind of a losing project. Plus, so I made some bad decisions. Plus, there was market timing. Plus, there were some people that were kind of not straight with me. So it's a combination of a lot of things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. I was missing some pieces to the puzzle, and I had to go learn those pieces. And so, yeah, I received a letter in the mail from Anthony Robbins endorsing Jay Abraham, and I went to one of his events. It was $5,000 per person. There was 500 people that paid $5,000. Do the math.
Jeez.
It's $2.5 million for an event. When you pay $5,000 for an event like that, people are not.
Definitely all in if you're going to do that.
Yeah, and the people teaching are not. They're not. They're not holding back information. They're giving. You paid a lot of money, and they're not there to sell you something else at the back of the room. But I was in a hot seat, and I was kind of skewered on stage, not knowing as much as I did about marketing, selling a technology product. But I realized I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't realize how little I was missing some pieces. After that event, first of all, I was tremendously impacted by that event, but they asked, would you like to go to the next event? I'm like, I can't afford it. I'm still trying to pay for the last one. And they said, we know. Can you barter? And I'm like, what could I possibly do? And they said, we need some transcription. So they sent me boxes and boxes of audio cassettes of 30 years of marketing think tanks organized by 30 different topics. And I listened to these audios and with my hand on a rewind button, and I word for word transcribed 30 years of think tanks on these 30 different topics. And then I summarized and typed them up in the computer and sent them in, and all this stuff was compiled into the J. Abraham Marketing Encyclopedia. So I literally helped put together a marketing encyclopedia, and I can word for word channel the languaging from that, marketing encyclopedia. And I got to spend 7 years working with J. Abraham and got to go to 12 more of his $5,000 events, and I got a world-class education. So a mentor changed my life because I had the technology piece, but I didn't have the marketing piece. But spending 7 years with this man and doing that kind of work, it really upped my learning curve. And in that process, I started to become really good at marketing. And I realized that most people are making huge mistakes in their marketing. I went to a trade show with over 100 booths, and I went by every booth, and they were all major companies, and every one of them was making marketing mistakes based on my checklists. And, I want to help everybody, but everybody didn't want to be helped. So you start to realize I work with that small group of people that want the help. Okay?
I think that's a cool story.
That is an awesome story, actually.
So that's kind of the evolution about how that all came to be. And your guy didn't come in. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So at that point, I was approached by somebody working who was also a J. Abraham client, and he invited me to be a coach for his program. Jay has had all these amazing principles that if you apply one of them, you make an extra $2 or $3 million. And this guy said, well, people only implement 1 or 2 or 3% of what they're learning from Jay. I have a coaching system where we can get people to implement 60 or 70% of what we teach them. So I started coaching with him for several years, and he did all the marketing, and he supplied me coaching clients, and it was electricians, plumbers, I worked with HVAC people. I worked with carpenters and general contractors. I worked with pawn shops and mining engineering companies and inventors of electronics. And, since then I've worked with, several thousand people in several hundred different industries. But the principles of marketing, the principles are universal. And most people think my business is different, but it's not. Nobody's business is different. You still need to generate leads or interest. You still need to nurture relationships. You still need to close the sale. You still need to deliver the goodies. You still need to have great relationships. No matter what business you're in, the most important number is the lifetime value of a customer. So there are universal principles, and when we're tuned into the universal principles, success is inevitable.
Yeah, I can agree, because I've kind of networked with a lot of people, and it seems like anyone who is in the marketing industry in whatever fashion, it seems like you can, like social media, I'm going to use for an example, is people will add you on Facebook and be like, hey, go buy my shit. No, that's not how you do it. You have a conversation with them, you start talking, you kind of reverb back and forth. And if you kind of resonate, they're like, hey, by the way, this is what I do. What do you do? And hell, we got sold on that, 2 weeks ago? I sat there and talked to this dude for like 2 days, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, what do you do? And he told me. Well, we end up in a phone call, and yeah.
Yeah. My big gripe with most of the industry is, are they really helping you get results? And if they help you get results, then that's the name of the game, at the cash register. When one of the events we did with Jay Abraham back in the year 2000 was the $1 billion internet super summit. And he brought in like 25 of the top internet marketing experts at that time. This is 19 years ago. And he paid them a lot of money to speak on his stage because he wanted to pick their brains and bring himself up to speed quick. And I remember, Jim and Audrey Lanford speaking, and there, people would say, I got 1 million hits to my website. Okay, well, how much money have you made? Well, I haven't made anything, but I got 1 million hits to my website. And I remember, Jim and Audrey said HITS, it means how idiots tell success. Real success is measured at the cash register. I don't care how many likes you have on Instagram. I don't care how many, friends you have. I want to know, what are your numbers? Are you making $5,000 a month, or 10 grand a month, or 20 grand a month, or 40 grand a month, or 80 grand a month? Where are you at? Let's get the thermostat out and measure, like cash.
That's like that new TikTok app. Everyone's like, oh, he's famous because he's got 20,000 followers. No, he's not famous. Shut up.
I'm playing on TikTok. I haven't got any customers from it, but it's a place where you can get exposure, So, look, there's nothing wrong with exposure, but we want exposure that converts into something that, if you got a screaming baby at home that's hungry for food, you want a business that brings in dollars so you can go buy the baby food.
Exactly.
10,000 likes on Instagram, does not make you have enough food to feed your baby. If you take all the likes you have on Facebook and all the likes you have on Instagram and all the likes you have on Twitter and add them up and add $2, you probably have enough for bus fare.
That's true. I like it.
What comes up for you guys as I share my stories here and I'm talking about what I do?
More knowledge than I have. I mean, that's the biggest thing is me and Kevin, when we first sat back and talked about doing this podcast, because we were screwing around doing our YouTube channel, and we kind of still are screwing around doing our YouTube channel. We wanted to go and get information that is hard to find sometimes, because some people don't give the information out willingly, and then we're like, well, then you listen to some people and it's like they're forcing it down your throat. And we want to go, you know what? We want to connect to people. We want to be able to connect and go, this is how you go about it. These are the people that you go about it with.
Yeah, I used to be kind of hold my secrets tight to the vest. I still do in a way, but I've learned that, here I am. I'm not holding back. You guys ask questions, I'll bring it on, And one of the lessons I've learned is when you give freely of your information, you earn the right to charge a premium for implementation. I'm giving you guys maybe an hour today. I'm sharing an hour with your audience. If somebody wants to reach out to me, they can schedule a time. I'll give them 30 or 40 or 50 minutes, to connect with them. And then it's like, okay, I can help you, or maybe I can, but hopefully at the end, yes, I can help you. And then it's like, it's really up to you. Do you want to have me helping you get more customers to pay you more money more often for the next 6 months? Do you want me to help you get more strategic? Do you want me to help you put together a better plan? Do you need better tactics? Do we need to fix the problems in the plumbing? Do we need to fine tune your money making machine? And how powerful would that be to have a master consultant, a master mechanic to help you fix your marketing, fix your selling, fix your process, fix your lead generation, fix your lead nurturing, all this. So there's a cost to working with me, and then there's a cost to not working with me.
Well,
go ahead.
Not only that, your guarantees freaking kick ass.
Yeah, and it's just because I believe that if you pay for business coaching, you should. I actually made a list today. I did a Facebook Live, 10 reasons why I actually guarantee cash results. You want me to run through that list real quick?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Number one is God gave you all the gifts you need to succeed. So, I can guarantee your success because I know God has fully equipped you. Number one. Number two, you have the ability to make somebody else's life better. I don't even know you, but I know if you actually try, you can make somebody's life better, whether it's cleaning their house or mowing their lawn or trimming their trees, or, you have the ability to make somebody's life better. That's why I know you can go out and make money. Number three is I believe in you. I won't let you into my program if I don't think I can help you. And if I do take you on, I'm going to be a stand for you. I won't accept you if I don't believe you can succeed. And so I filter people out just as much as I filter people in. Number four is there are no defective people, only a defective process. The only reason that you've tried a business and haven't made money, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just you never have learned how to put together one of these entrepreneur things that works. So let's look at fixing your process. There's nothing wrong with you. Number five, I stand for this thing. I take a stand for employer self-reliance is better than employer reliance. I take a stand for self-reliance through entrepreneurship, and this is what I stand for. This is my purpose in life. This is my calling. God put me on this. I can work with people that are already making a lot who want to make more, and I do, and I always appreciate those clients. But this thing about taking people that are in a soul-sucking job, we don't have an unemployment problem. We have an underemployment problem where people are not using all their magic. The jobs that we take only use a fraction of our gifts. So, and then number six is I have the structure to support you succeeding in the guarantee. I have the infrastructure to help support that. Number seven is I have reasonable conditions. Number one, you got to do your part. And number two is you can't quit. If you don't do your part, if you quit, and then you also have to pay me in full. I'm not going to keep supporting you if you're not paying me. So I have reasonable conditions. You got to do the work. Number eight, if you hire a business coach, you should see an increase in business, period. Very few coaches in the business realm actually guarantee results, but this is a reasonable guarantee. If you spend 10 grand with me, if you spend 5 grand with me, you're going to make your 5 grand double it. You'll bring in 10 grand. That's a very easy number for me to hit with a client as long as they're making reasonable efforts and we have the right business model. Number 9 reason why I do this guarantee is because it pays for itself. If you buy my program and don't do the work, you're going to lose money. But if you buy the program and do the work, you're going to create a business that can perpetually bring an income for you and the people you love. So it pays for itself. My training, it's not free, but it becomes free when you do the work. You're making new money that you weren't making before. And then number 10 is you don't want a money back guarantee. You actually want a business that works.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Especially number 10, because everyone's like, oh, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, it will work. If
Yeah, why are you looking for a way to quit on your own success?
Exactly.
It's not about me. I'm a conduit. I'm a facilitator in your success. My job is to get you started, so then, you know, I'm not here to fish for you. I'm here to teach you how to fish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's say somebody comes to you and wants to be a part of you. Is there like a list of things that you ask them about their business, or is there a certain, how do I say it? A certain setup you do when you talk to them to see if they're viable or not?
Like, is there a criteria?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, first of all, do you have a business already? If you don't, we have a process to help you figure out the right business for you and your personality, because you got to choose your business wisely. You know, if you choose somebody else's business, if you choose a business foolishly, it's kind of like if you like, if I tell you this is the dogmatic way you have to do thing, it's kind of like, you know, you're wearing my underwear. You know, it's like it might be a little kinky at first, but after a while it just gets weird. You need to figure out what's custom for you. So you wake up, you're doing what you love, you're sharing the love, you're receiving the love. You know, you want to build a business based on passion. And there's three parts to like choosing a business that'll work. Number one is, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And then what will the marketplace pay you for? What are you good at? What are you passionate about is all you. But the part where what will the marketplace pay you for is others. Because this is a lot of people don't get this, but this is really the spiritual part of business. Is everything you want in business is controlled by someone else. And if you want money, then you need to like go to other people and then contribute something to them. If you know, the measure of wealth is not how much you have, but how much you give, share, serve. And so we need to figure out what's all of your magic that you can take to the marketplace, that you can exchange as, you know, as a currency in exchange for cash. You know, for example, you know, my ideal client is, you know, every day, Monday through Friday, they are reluctantly driving to a soul-sucking job. They're like, I don't want to go into work today, but I got to feed my kids. I got to take care of my wife. And they are praying. They're, dear God, please send me a mentor. Send me someone that can teach me how to start my own business. I don't have to keep working for these idiots. Okay, there are millions of people saying that prayer every day. I am the answer to that prayer. Okay, and so there's not just one person that has that problem. It's a universal. A lot of people have that problem. And so each person that comes to me is going to create a different business because their personality is different. But the core is I want to make a business I want to build a business that fucking works. I've heard that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. And my attitude is not on my watch. Let's design success into the equation from the beginning. Let's get it right. Let's make this business. And you know, success isn't making $10 million a year. In this case, success might be, hey, I'm making 50 grand working for somebody else. They control my time. I have no freedom. I'm not making the impact. And I would rather make 50 grand. I'd rather make the same 50 grand a year. I want the money, but I also want to do the most meaningful work that's aligned with my soul. And I want to have freedom. A lot of the times, the biggest reason people hate their jobs is because they have no freedom. It's like they signed a contract with the devil that we will pay you this good money, but you don't have freedom. You become our bitch. So there's three reasons: money, meaning, and freedom. So it's a bit, the work that I do is very personal. Every person is different. And I don't have an agenda to shove you down my job is to help you find your own path. My job is not to motivate you and push you. My job is to inspire you to ignite your own flame within and be driven by your own inspiration of what it is that you're driven by. And by the way, once that happens, once you get the inspiration, like, oh my God, this is it, I can't stop you, then my job is to help you make it viable by design. Most people are not in careers by design, they're in careers by default.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like what you're doing. I think you have a really good model, and a lot of people need somebody like you with your expertise.
I know I'm one of a kind. I know that what I'm doing goes in the face of a lot of conventional, wisdom. Most people, a lot of people say, just go get a job. Don't talk to Joe, because, those entrepreneurs, they're all a bunch of failures. But no, it doesn't really have to be that way. If you want it to work, you can make it work.
Agreed.
What's been most useful for you in their little conversation so far?
Oh man, you can do it. I mean, that's something that resonates really big with me. Is this, you can do it. You just gotta find the person or the passion within yourself that'll get you there, to help you get you there, because how do I say it?
Yeah, you know what? You can do it on your own, but it helps if you do have a guide or a Sherpa. A guide from the bottom of the mountain to if you go to Mount Everest, there's Sherpas and they guide you up to base camp because they're familiar with the territory. And, I've been through 30, 40 years of business. I've made money. I've made some massive mistakes, and I'm an expert at what not to do. And I can help you prevent a lot of the mistakes along the way. You could take 30 years like I did, or you can work with me for 6 months. Let me mentor you and do a data dump and really give you a lot. I can definitely take the 30 years of my learning curve. I can impose a lot of that on you in a very, short amount of time, and it can make a difference in, getting up to speed really quick.
Yeah, what I was going to say for my tangible takeaway, sorry, Julian, had to, is more or less if you're lost and you don't know what the next step is, you need to find somebody who you resonate with, for one, who knows his shit, for two, and hire that person who understands where you're trying to go. And they can walk you through it, help you out, and move you to that next step.
It's really true. So many people say the key to success is focus, focus, what you focus on, but sometimes you're so close to the tree, you miss the forest. And so just as much as focus is a skill, we need to learn to defocus, zoom out, take in the wide perspective. Because sometimes if we're focusing over here, but really the real opportunity is over here, if we're so focused on this thing over here, we're missing out. So just as important as zooming in and focusing is zooming out, getting perspective. Oh, the next opportunity is over here. Focus on that, create the success you need, and then zoom out, and then maybe the next success is up here. And then you go focus up here. So we need to have this ability to zoom in and zoom out. And if you're just focus, you might be so close to the tree that you're missing the forest. My mentor, Jay Abraham, calls it marketing myopia. We're so close to how we do things that we're missing the full spectrum of possibility. We see this, in the car industry, car salespeople sell like people in the car industry. And if you go to real estate people, kind of plus or minus 5%, they do it the way they learned. They all learned it in the real estate. You go into the jewelry, But jewelers do it different than car people. And how amazing would it be for a car person to learn marketing from a jeweler and cross-pollinate ideas that are not done in our industry? But what's common knowledge to the jeweler is profound revelation to the car guy. That's, what's common knowledge to the dentist is profound revelation to the jeweler.
Yeah, I like that.
What's common knowledge to me, because I've learned it my whole life, is profound revelation to people that haven't done the studies and the homework that I've done.
Yeah, cross-pollinating knowledge.
Right. And if you bring in that new kind of marketing into the card game and play the game truly by a truly different way, it's revolutionary. Yeah. It's revolutionary,
Well, I think on that note, we're going to wrap this one up. Unless you have anything else, either one of you.
No, one of the things I've been thinking about, and I see it in my business as I'm talking to people who I think would be good clients, but I think it's common. One of the reasons people don't buy from us is because they have fear. And fear is the worst reason to make any decision. So, whenever you're looking at, investing in yourself, investing, you need to ask yourself, am I making my decision based on the growth choice or the fear choice? And if you find yourself making a decision based on fear, what if you just backed up and just kind of said, well, what if I actually made a choice based on actually growing and making myself better and improving, my circumstances, improving my condition? So if you're trying to sell, electrician stuff to a homeowner, and they're saying no, it's like, just recognize it's entirely possible that no is coming from a place of fear. It's not coming from a place of growth.
I think fear is actually like, we've got like 20 something episodes sitting there waiting to roll. And fear is like the absolute number one thing that comes up every time.
Okay.
And we have to get over that fear barrier and basically pull the trigger. If it's something you want to do, it's something that you're passionate about.
Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. My buddy has got a virtual reality machine. And he's got this thing where you walk the plank. So you put on the goggles and stuff, and you're on an elevator. You can see yourself like going way up in this high rise. And then the doors open, and there's like a plank in front of you, and it's like, 20-story drop. And you walk the plank, okay? But the VR, it's a 20-story drop. But in reality, I'm on the same floor as his garage.
Yeah.
There's no drop at all. But when you're wearing this virtual reality, it's like it's like, it's a freaking illusion. But your brain is playing mind tricks saying, I don't want to step off because I'll go to this great fall. But there's no great fall because it's all just an illusion. And so, fear is really just, most of the stuff that we're afraid of never manifests the way that we think it's going to manifest.
I think your brain will play a lot of tricks on you because we've done the same thing. I think you took Brad, where it's the same thing. You put on the VR and then you're on a roller coaster. If you're standing up, you're going to fall. It starts going up a hill and you're leaning back like you're going to go,
that's like vertigo.
Yeah, your brain it controls your whole body, and so you condition yourself to have that fear, and then roll with it. It's going to control your entire existence. So you need to learn how to overcome that.
And so I think one of the things just to recognize is that everybody's a little bit. We all got our little fear issues. We all got our little, you know, we just had this whole Me Too movement. That's a whole different conversation. But I think one of the things that came out of that is we've all been traumatized, and therefore we all need healing. You know, and our trauma, you know, a lot of our fears come from our traumas. And so one of our jobs as a sales professional, marketing professional, somebody trying to enroll somebody into something that will improve their life, is to recognize that people have been traumatized. They have spent money on crap that didn't work. They are afraid that it won't work this time. And that you're here to heal that and show them that this time it will be different. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to let you down, and I want you to have a good experience once again. And I think when we just recognize that people are in fear, people are in trauma, and that people need healing, and when we come to the table as a healer, watch how everything improves. Everything.
I agree.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on your show this week.
Thank you for being here. And again,
Thanks for coming.
This is Joe Nicassio. Go check him out, because honestly, he kind of bent my brain a little bit. I'm going to have to personally go through and re-listen to this episode and kind of process some of the things that he said.
I've been helping entrepreneurs reinvent themselves since 1999. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm really good at it. And you know, I want to help people. I know a lot of people are they have frustrations around their money game. You know, I was just talking to a friend of mine. He was saying that there's this research that has proven if you're a public speaker, the number one topic, if you're speaking to a group of people, the number one thing that people will instantly tune out is when you start having the money conversation. People say they just kind of glaze over. You start talking about money, they dissociate. And I've been doing this a long time. And if you're serious about like actually healing your money situation, your business, your income, like just have the courage to like at least have the conversation, and you know, and I promise you can make life better by getting a little bit of guidance.
Perfect. Well,
I love it.
We appreciate having you so much, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for thanking me. I appreciate being appreciated.